Like after that first article that I did, I had a friend call me and say, "Oh, you can't tell people you did meth in there?" Well, I did. That's the first place I ever did meth, and I did it all the time. That was, I didn't lie about anything in the article, and I certainly didn't say anybody's names. And I hate to say it, but, there's TV shows and movies about this kind of stuff all over the place, and they're pretty spot on.
Every time I turn on my phone or the TV, it feels like the world's falling apart. The news is full of chaos, and if that's all you ever see, it's easy to believe everything's just getting worse. But that's not what I'm seeing behind the scenes. In real life, in our communities, I'm watching God move like I've never seen before. I've seen lives restored, churches growing, revival happening at business events, people stepping out in faith, and God giving dreams and visions, calling people to rise up and make a difference. And that's why I started Transforming Communities, because I want to show you what God is actually doing right now. I want to introduce you to my friends, people who are stepping up, taking risks, and transforming their cities for the kingdom. So if you're tired of bad news and you've been wondering if God still moves, He does, and these stories prove it. To support what we're doing and to hear more stories like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified every time a new podcast drops, just click the bell icon next to the subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump into the Transforming Communities podcast. This episode is brought to you by Helping Captives. It's crazy how many people don't realize that human trafficking isn't just somewhere else. It happens right here in our own communities. Helping Captives is a faith-based anti-trafficking organization that exists to provide freedom, hope, and opportunity to survivors of sex trafficking across the United States. They do this through their different services such as emergency and stabilization, 24/7 around-the-clock care, professional counseling, and much more. If you're a survivor of sex trafficking and need help, or you're wanting to support a survivor's journey, take the first step at helpingcaptives.org. That's helpingcaptives.org. My friend Dionne Varney's story offers a rare inside look into one of the most misunderstood worlds of our time. For years, she lived and worked inside the strip club industry, eventually becoming a manager at the Deja Vu strip club. And at the time, the club world gave Dionne what she thought she needed: stability, affirmation, and survival. But beneath the surface, something was breaking in her life. And there came a moment when Dionne realized change wasn't optional, it was necessary. And in the middle of that tension and addiction, she encountered Jesus in a real and personal way and found freedom that began to reshape her life from the inside out. Her journey would come full circle on a night few would imagine. It was the night Helping Captives purchased the very club she once managed, turning it into a freedom center for sex trafficking survivors. Standing on both sides of that moment, Dionne experienced a complexity, grief, gratitude, and hope that no headline could fully capture. Today, Dionne is a voice of clarity and courage, helping expose the difference between sex work and sex trafficking, challenging false narratives and insisting that these stories be told with truth and humanity. From the dressing room moments to the women she once stood beside, Dionne understands the weight of the details and why they matter. So in this episode, you're going to hear how a life shaped by survival was transformed by truth, and how redemption can reach places many believe are beyond hope. And to be honest with you, some things she wished I would have done differently when we purchased the club. Because Dionne's story is both deep and complex, this conversation is being released in 2 parts. So with that being said, on to part 2 with my friend Dionne Varney. So the second half of this, I want to switch it up a little bit.
Sure.
I quickly want to hear when you realized something had to change and how you came to Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'd like to touch on where you work now and how that happened. And then I want to go through some of those questions we talked about.
Yeah, sure.
You good with that?
Yeah.
So how did you,
for sure.
when did you realize that this all needed to change? Because the Bible says, it says there's a way that seems right to a man, but in the end it leads to death. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the conversation that you and I've had behind the scenes of, I just felt right. This is how I needed to make money. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I was just partying. Yeah. But at some point, the meth addiction and stuff, it just, that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's like the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy you. Yeah. And all of a sudden that starts to happen in your life. So,
yeah. Well, life started really taking its toll on me. So, I left the club for a while. Some managers came in that did some really bad things, and I quit the club. Plus, I was having my daughter anyways. So I was at home one day, and I get a call from the regional manager that says, Dionne, I need you to come back. Anything you want, please come back. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to give me a little while because I just had my daughter. I just moved into a big house on the hill. I said, and give me a minute. I took a couple weeks, got myself together, started, and he's like, when can you start? And I said, I don't want to start right away being the GM. I need to acclimate my way in here. I don't want to start right away. I got a new baby at home. Give me a minute, so I'm working with him, and he's there. He just wants to go back to Seattle. That's all he wants to do. So he wants me to hurry up and take position. But it's taken me a while. And then shortly thereafter, my daughter's dad and I, we end up breaking up. It goes really bad, super duper bad. He calls the cops on me, or he has me removed from my house one night. And not only does he get a restraining order, because I beat him up, I attacked him. In hindsight, I would say he deserved it, but nobody deserves it. But anyway, one of my things.
Sometimes people need a good little.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, he calls the cops on me, and he has me, but he doesn't have me. All this doesn't happen until a few nights later, and I'm getting ready to go home, and it's a Friday night, or not home, to work. It's a Friday night, and the police come and tell me they have a restraining order. They're removing me from my house. So I'm like, okay. Just let me get my things. I pack a couple bags. I grab my daughter, and they said, no, you can't take her. And I'm like, what? Do you mean I can't take her? Restraining orders for her and your son. And I'm like, well, my son's not here, and son's not even his. So I flip out. Fine. Get in my car. I don't even have a car. Call somebody, because they don't let me take my car. I call somebody. They come and pick me up. I go to work. And my regional manager's there, and I tell him, I said, I'm trying not to use any names. I don't know if you noticed, but he just got a restraining order on me. I have my kids. But on my way to work, I called a lawyer, and they said, if you can have $1,500 to us right now, we will have an emergency case open for you on Monday, because they're telling me 2 weeks. The cops are telling me 2 weeks, you can go to court. So the manager gives me $1,500. I go right downtown, pay a lawyer. I have a court date on Monday. I asked him if he could just take it out of my check every week, and he says, no, it's a personal loan. Great. So because of that, I'm not, again, stepping into a managerial role, because now I have this to deal with. So I'm doing that, and at that time, I just start losing myself. I have to move back with my mom, because he had me removed from the house, and I need a place to live because of court. I had just went back to work, so I'm not making the money that I can if I take the managerial role, but I can't manage because I have court, and I'm living with my mom in Latah again, and I've got 2 kids. And little by little, pieces of me start falling away. And one night, I finally get custody of my kids, 100%. Everything's fine, and everything should be looking up, but I'm still falling apart. I'm still doing meth, but not that much, but still doing it. And one night, something at work just sets me off, and I just walked out of the club and didn't tell anybody, and I just left. And then I just went home and didn't work for a couple months. Then I get a job at a little bar, and I get into a horrible car accident, and I'm in a wheelchair for 8 months. And at this point, I'm like, I'm going to quit meth. I can't both my arms are broken, so I can't use it anyway. So I'm like, this is a perfect reason to stop. I get out of those casts, and no sooner do I get out of those casts, but I go back to smoking meth again. So then I think, okay, but I have some money, so I'm going to move further away from Spokane. So I moved down to a little town called Tico. Yeah. Get another position in a bar.
Fun motorcycle rides back in there.
Yeah. Get a job in a bar. I'm really trying hard not to do any drugs. So then I start drinking. And I had never been that big of a drinker. I start drinking, and drinking a lot. And in the meantime, I meet my husband, my soon-to-be husband. He's awesome. We get married after about 6 months, only dating 6 months, we get married. We're married for not even a year, and we're fighting all the time. Everything his fault. So I'm going to divorce him. Write him a letter, going to file for divorce. I'm in between I'm staying at my mom's house again. Then I'm staying at another friend's house, or go to Farmington every once in a while because that's where my husband lived, and that's where we were living. And I go to some friend's house over in Tico. I get so wasted, and I see my husband, and he's with somebody, and I freak out, and I go driving back home in my mom's car, wasted, and fly off a ravine and go down into where the creek is. And I don't even remember. I don't remember any of it. That was my second bad car accident in 3 years. My first one was in 2008.
And you would think being in a wheelchair for 8 months.
I know you would think, but see, that wasn't my fault though, because the people that I hit went to jail for drunk driving.
Okay.
But it could have been my fault.
Went to jail
I
for
know, exactly. So
Okay.
that one was a 90-mile-an-hour collision head-on on Dishman Micah, and I was going to go hook up. I had just got done working at the bar, had just a couple beers, had just bought a brand new car that day, and was going to hook up. Brand new for me. It was a used car, but brand new that day.
Okay.
Just bought it that day.
Yeah.
Going to go hook up. The last thing I remember is I can't wait to get a stereo in here because I had no stereo. Their stereo didn't work. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up in the middle of a field. In the car, can't get out. But I wish I had pictures of it because the car is a mangled ball. Wow. You can only tell it's a car because you can see one tire. Everybody thought I was dead, but I was alive.
Wow.
I mean, I broke both my arms, my foot, my heel. This arm was crushed and a compound fracture. And anyway, they did an emergent. I mean, the surgeon was amazing. I mean, an 8-hour emergency surgery in the middle of the night, putting me back together. Wow. But anyway, yeah, so that was my first accident. Then I go off the ravine, and I'm in my mom's car. And I'm still have the mindset of how my mom still is, even as an adult. Just her raising my voice puts me in that immediate, oh my God, I'm going to pee my pants. I'm so scared feeling. So anyway, the ambulance comes and picks me up on the side of the road, and they said, have you been drinking? And I'm like, yes, I've been drinking. At that time, I just wanted to give up. I wanted to give up. Have you been drinking? Yes, I've been drinking. Take me to the hospital. My husband's there. I don't know who called him or how, whatever. I don't know anything. I just know my husband's there, and the doctors come in or the police come in. Somebody does and ask me if I've been drinking, and John's like, don't you dare tell him you've been drinking. I'm like, but I do. I tell them, yeah, I've been drinking. They know anyways. I mean, I reeked of it. I mean, I was wasted. My husband takes me home. He puts me back together. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And he's being hard on me, exactly what I need. He's being the grown-up in this whole situation. And I think that everything's his fault. I go run over to the neighbor's house, stay with the neighbor, start drinking. I'm drinking, still drinking. And that was for about 5 days. I was drinking straight. And then one day I just woke up and I couldn't do it anymore. I just wanted to die. So I called my daughter's grandma and I asked her for help because she had been in recovery. And as a matter of fact, the whole time I was with my daughter's dad. It's like 14 years is the weird thing. We were together 14 years. My daughter's dad and I always steered clear of her because she was in recovery. And I never wanted to get so close to her that she knew, because I subconsciously and a little bit consciously knew that if I got too close to her, she would know what I was doing because,
Been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's not stupid.
Right, So, but I ended up asking her for help. And I've got really great insurance, but it's $1,200 to get into this rehab. And she calls my husband, asks if he'll pay for it. He's like, no, she's leaving me. I'm not doing anything for her. So then she calls me back and she says, you know what, Dionne, the Lord has blessed me, so I'm going to pay your copay, your $1,200. I want to bless you. And I went to rehab.
Save your life.
Yep, it did save my life. I went to rehab. And it was funny because she was always trying to get me to go to Bible study in church all the time. And I'm like, I'm going to be crazy Christian, we're all crazy Christians. To me, I'm like, I don't have time for God. God certainly doesn't have time for me. Look at all the crap I went through in my life. Nobody cared. God didn't care. Nobody cared about me. No, I don't have time for this. And a couple times, just to make her shut up, I'd go to BSF with her, which I ended up going to all the time later. But anyways, so long story short, a few days later, her and my best friend Angie drive me to rehab. And I'm in rehab, and it's only 21 days. And I just wanted to be clean. I mean, it was like the minute I decided that I needed help, that's all I wanted was help. I just wanted everybody to tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I just want to stay clean. And of course, I'm telling everybody it's just drinking. I was just drinking. Nobody still knew I was doing all this meth. A few people knew I did it sometimes, but nobody knew how bad that I was 100% a functioning meth addict, 100%. It was like 21 days, and they want you to leave after 21 days, but they want you to go into a recovery house. And then they tell me, well, Dionne, you should really go to the West Side. There's all kinds of good recovery houses on the West Side. And I'm like, I can't. I'm still married. My kids are still over here. And the rehab that I went to, they actually bring your family in for 3 days. And they come and stay with you. They have a whole wing where the family stays, and they do the whole accountability. Everybody tells you what a horrible, terrible person you've been to them and all the horrible and terrible things you put them through. And so at that time, I want to reconcile with my husband. I want to try to make it work. I don't know if it's going to, because I don't even know what it's like to be sober. I don't even know if he'll like me if I'm sober. I don't know if I like him if I'm sober. I don't know anything other than I want to stay sober. But I really don't want to go to the West Side. I want to try. I need to be with my family. So they tell me, well, there's this place in Spokane. The only place we recommend in Spokane for women right now is a place called Anna Ogden Hall, but it's Christian. And I'm like, I don't care. Put me there. I don't care. Yeah. So I get on the bus, come back from the Sundown M Ranch. That's the rehab I went to.
That's so crazy to me that they would try and get you to go all the way to the West Side instead of going to this one just because it's Christian.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just because it was Christian. It was because it was 18. Their norm was to put people in Oxford houses.
Yeah, it just seems crazy to me that wouldn't be the first thing they'd say to you.
Yeah.
And then go, well, if you don't want faith-based,
yeah, and I think that they just said that to me because I wasn't a Christian.
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah. And they said it's 18 months, and I'm like, well, it's not jail, is it? I'm like, well, who's going to go to a crazy place for 18 months? Yeah. I just need a few months of recovery. Yeah. 21 days isn't enough. Yeah,
and you had been there before.
Yeah, I had been there for just to walk through it and do a walkthrough. Yeah. So anyway, and you know what? But it's funny because I didn't even put those two together until I got to the building.
Got it.
Later. Anyway, I take the bus from Sela. But first I call them and I'm like, hey, I want to make an appointment. They said, well, we don't do our appointments here at first. We need you to go to this place. It's at 1234 East Sprague. I'm like, okay, 1234 East Sprague. I write it down. Do I need an appointment? Nope, just show up. Okay. Take the bus. My daughter's grandma picks me up from the bus station. 1234 East Sprague. And I pull up to this place and I'm like,
is it the old crisis shelter right by the HA?
Right by next door to the HAs. I'm like, okay, for one, this is a shelter. For two, I know everybody on this block. I can't stay here. But I want to be clean. I want to be sober. That's all I know. So I'm like, oh my God, they're never going to let me in. I come in. I've got my hustler sweatsuit on. I've got my designer suitcases. I'm like, this is a homeless shelter. Nobody's going to let me into this frickin' place. I am totally screwed. Totally screwed. So I ring the bell, because they just don't let you in. I ring the bell, and they're like, can we help you? And I said, yeah, I'm supposed to come here. 1234 East Sprague. I'm trying to go to Anna Ogden Hall, but I was told to come here. And they said, we'll be right out. And they come and meet me at the gate. And they said, and I go, well, I'm not homeless. And she said, and Jackie said to me, well, are you in crisis? And I'm like, yes, I'm in crisis. I just start bawling my face off. Yes, I'm in crisis. She goes, then you're at the right place. So they let me in, and I stay there for 5 weeks before they get me into Anna Ogden Hall. I never left my room. The only time I left my room was my husband would pick me up once a week to take me down to Costco to get coffee and snacks for the room that I was staying in, because it was the old hotel, you know. Well, that's how it's set up. And I didn't talk to anybody outside of my room because I didn't want to leave, because I couldn't be trusted. I was afraid that if I walked out on that sidewalk and I saw people that I knew, that I wouldn't look back, you know. I mean, and I didn't want to do that. I would like to think that I wouldn't do that, but I still didn't. I couldn't be trusted. As far as I was concerned, I couldn't. So then my husband and I, we go to Costco a few times and bring back snacks. That's the only time I leave. And then we leave also to go to my first meeting at Anna Ogden Hall to do my application and to talk through the whole process. And they tell me that it's the 18-month recovery. I have to live there. I won't be able to see anybody for the first 30 days. No phones, no husbands, no nothing. Okay, that's fine. I did that in rehab. And my husband and I leave, and he's taking me back to the crisis shelter, because you can't leave the shelter, otherwise you have to start all over again. And I think they kept me there for a while because I wasn't homeless. So they made me stay in the shelter. Maybe not, but I have a feeling they made me stay there a little longer because I wasn't homeless, and they wanted to make sure that I was serious about this. Because
I think the second thing is probably why they do it. They want people that are, you know, to take up a bed at Anna Hall, you know.
Yeah, right.
Want to make sure that you're really serious about it.
And I mean, what I couldn't wrap my head around was that everything was free. They're like, this is all free. We're like, well, how much? What? No, it's all free. And I'm like, how can something like this be free? There's a catch. Of course, everything, there's a catch in my world. So my husband and I, we are leaving, and we both decide that I'm only going to stay for 4 months. This is fine, but realistically, not 18 months. I don't need 18 months. I'm not homeless. I don't need 18 months. 4 months is enough recovery under my belt. But I ended up staying for 21 months through the end.
Awesome.
I wasn't a believer when I walked through those doors, but I wasn't like a total atheist. It's not that I didn't believe, I just didn't know. And the only thing that I had known about Christians is more coming at a shameful, punishing God, you know, turn and burn kind of thing.
Yeah, the people outside the club with signs yelling at you.
They had those. I mean, they had some that came in and loved on us as far as giving us food and sharing the message a little bit, but most of the time it was the guys on the sidewalk that, you know, we're all going to hell. You know, stay out of here, you're going to hell kind of thing. And I didn't know anybody that was a real Christian. Plus, I thought most of them were hypocrites. You know, it's like, you know, you want me to be perfect, but what have you done for me? You know, what has God done? A lot of it was...
Some of the women are like, we have pastors that come in here, or guys that say they're Christian, and they're always in here. Yeah, I mean, so from their lens, that's totally
100%.
hypocritical.
100%, you know? And also, you know, I embraced what I did. Sure, it was bad and it was evil and it was dark, and I was just fine where I was. You know, God didn't have time for me. I don't have time for him either. You know, and plus, why would he want to have anything to do with me? Look at how horrible I am. Look at all the terrible, horrible, no good things that I've done in my life, to people, to myself, to those who love me, you know, my loved one. You know, I'm not even worth his breath, is what I thought. But, you know, being at Anna Ogden Hall, which is the Union Gospel Mission, which I had no idea, was after about...
Did they ever rebrand that, or do they just keep it AOH?
No, it's the Women's Recovery Spokane.
Okay.
It'll always be Anna Ogden Hall to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they kind of have changed that enough.
Women's Recovery Spokane.
It's a part of
Women's Recovery Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
That's So
Got it.
so WRC.
To the OGs, it's always the same.
Yes. Yeah. Winfield. It's always going to be AOH to me. You know. But yes, because at that time I didn't even know what Union Gospel Mission was, except for the homeless shelter. Sure. Not a clue. Yeah. You know. And I mean, and even next door, you know, because I had been next door. I didn't, and all I knew that was the shelter. Yeah. You know, that was just the homeless shelter for women.
Fair enough.
But I didn't realize what kind of extent they go through to help people find out who Jesus really is. Yeah. Who God really is and how much he really does love you, and it's not how these people, you know, how you really think it is. You know, and that perfection isn't even close to what he wants. You know, you being good or you're going to be in so much trouble is not how he fathers. You know, that it's totally different. And I remember when I was first there at AOH, how nice everybody was to me. And for like the first 2 months, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I'm like, people are not this nice to you.
Sure, yeah, because
without wanting something in return.
Like everything's free. For the women that come, and just because we feel like this is what God's called us to do, and He loves you, and it costs you everything.
Yes,
but it doesn't cost you, you know, financially to find Him and get hope in your spirit to change and your life to change, and it does throw people off, especially coming out of the life.
Yes, because in the life you live in, nothing's free.
Yeah.
You know, everything, it might sound, it might be free in the beginning, but it's not free. It's definitely not free. Yeah. You know, I mean, first hit might be free.
There's people that are actually paying the bill and donating so that you can just get help for free.
100%. Yeah. And, you know, and when they tell us, you know, we don't take any government funds. This is 100% donor related. These are people who love the Lord and believe in what the Lord can do, what Jesus can do to you. And they love you enough. They want you to experience this, and they want you to have this, and they want the life that Jesus has for you. Totally. I mean, I mean, I've been with the mission now I'm working at the car lot now for 13 years. Was it? No, 12 years. Yeah. In September. Yeah, 12 years in September, because I would clean 14 years in November. That's how I have to do the math. My brain doesn't work too good. But.
So you got out, and then and not only did you go through the program and get healing and hope, but they actually helped you get a job.
Yeah. Well, God did. Yeah. God narrowed my path to that job because, of course, you know, I mean, power and control. I mean, that's what, you know, one thing you learn in, what I learned in program is all the basic needs that a human being needs for survival. Well, survival being one of them, but to live and you can either be healthy or it can be really, really, really bad. Yeah. But, you know, one of them is power and control, which is one thing that I have struggled with, you know, the club gave me that because I never had it when I was growing up. Yeah. There was zero power and control. So when I started stripping and working at the club, I mean, that satisfied that need. And I had been running on survival since birth, probably, you know. So those three things, you know, I had those things. I was cocked and loaded with those all the time. But even after being clean and sober and going through program and 21 months later, I'm still trying to do things how I want to do it. So one of my rules before I could move out of program was I had to have a job. My husband and I had all these boundaries because he did counseling with me for about the last 4 or 6 months at the house too. But one of them is got to be working. Can't be idly standing by because that's when I get in trouble, especially. So I immediately go out. I've been running a club. I know how to do these things. I'm professional. I look at how I did life. I can do some stuff. So I'm trying to get all these managerial jobs outside of the place. And the vocational lady that was running it, her name was Tiffany, and she was doing job placement for people. She's like, you know, Dionne, you should really go think about doing this employment training opportunity at the Motors. And I'm like, I'm not going to do an employment training opportunity at a used car lot. I've been employed. I don't need training. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to go be a receptionist at a car lot. I kept telling her. She's like, okay. And I'd go apply for these jobs, and I'd get shut down. And I finally said, okay, I'll take the interview. So I took the interview. Well, I scheduled the interview with my manager, with the car lot manager. And then I got another interview somewhere else, and I called him and canceled. So didn't get this other job. So then I'm like, great. So I have to totally, you know, humble myself and call him and say, will you give me another chance? Yeah. Because here I'm looking for all these jobs, and this is the first time I'm applying for jobs and I'm not getting jobs because I get jobs. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I get jobs. What is happening? So call him, and he's like, sure. So Tiffany, the vocational lady, she takes me to the Motors, and I am not happy about it. I'm like, I'm at this car lot, and I'm going to be a receptionist, of all things. So I get the job, and I was at the job for a few months, and a few months into it, my manager, the office manager, she tells me that her and her husband are trying to get pregnant. And then she finally gets pregnant. And when she does, she tells me, after I have my baby, I'm not coming back. And then I was offered her job when she left. When she was going to leave, like, will you take her job? And I'm like, oh, this is why. Okay, Lord. Because, I mean, it was obvious that I was not getting a job anywhere else. And finally, I was like, okay, Lord, you must want me here. I don't know why you want me here, but fine, I'll go. I'll go work at a dumb little car lot as a receptionist.
Yeah. This dumb car lot that's
There's no
making
zero
money
pride
to
there.
change a bunch of people's lives that
I
were
know.
just you. Yeah, that's not making any profit for themselves, but giving all of it to the kingdom of God to help more people like you.
I know, exactly. So yeah, I've been at I just, in September, 12 years working for the mission. I mean, and it's, I mean, and I love it. I always say I went to the other side of the street because it's, it's across the street from Deja Vu, down the road, but yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's, and for a while, I do have to say, it took me a few years to testify and to tell my story because I was busy hiding from everybody because of the club and all the things that I did and all the people that I knew because I knew everybody and I'd been around.
Or you're worried they're going to judge you.
Well, not just judge me, but for a little while, I thought maybe try to suck me back in or I would be, because I judged myself so hard already, it didn't even matter. There was nothing that anybody could say or do to make me feel any worse than what I had already done to myself. So judgment really wasn't the thing. It was more fear of me in a weak moment, getting sucked back into that. I wasn't ready to be let me tell you what Jesus Christ can do for you kind of thing, which is where I am now. I'm really solid there. But I just didn't want to be judged. I mean, not judged, but found it a weak spot and got sucked back into anything that had to do with drugs and just the life. And
I think that's wisdom.
Yeah,
it's wisdom.
Yeah, it was.
Sometimes it takes time to. Yeah, my pastor told me when I first started going to church with there. I kept wanting to save my friends. Like my life had changed. But I was still rough around the edges. Still, going back and I'd go hang out with them, but then I'd, party or I'd hook up with somebody and then I'd feel bad and then I'd go to church. And so finally he just told me that, if you really want a rescue team, like sometimes you have to leave your situation, if they're stuck in the ice somewhere, you got to go find a boat or a rescue team and then come back later with a team and a new family to help. And now I'm in that season where a lot of those people are now coming to church or contacting me, but I have a whole new group of friends.
And that's me. My life.
There was a season there. I didn't put enough time. I wasn't putting enough time to really become family over here. And make them my identity. And my group of friends to go help. I kept just going right back into the same crap that I was trying to come out of. So to me, it just sounds like wisdom.
Because it was one thing, seeing people, but I mean, like, when I could first get my license back, because I eventually ended up with the DUI, and and I went deferred. I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm not. I had drawn the line. I am done. So I went deferred. I'd never been in trouble before. Well, not since my little escapade as a kid, at Nordstrom, but I had never been in trouble before, so I could go deferred. And
that's why you got caught, because of all the places to go take the stolen credit card, you went to Nordstrom?
Yes. Yeah, of all the places. And they come out of the walls there. That's no joke. No joke. They come out of the walls. Literally, half of those walls back then were fake.
Hey, at least you were like, hey, if we're doing this, we're going all the way.
Well,
Fair enough.
Yeah, Nordstrom. Anyway. But, so so crazy, Anyway,
Shopco.
I know. Downtown, we're going to Nordstrom. Anyway, go big. That's So anyway, I had gone deferred, and so I had to suspend my license for quite some time. I could get a blow and go, but I said nope. I mean, I was already doing my program at the house, and then I had to do 12 hours at intensive outpatient every 12 hours a week. So there were times that I was, no joke, running here I'm 36 years old, running to the bus stop to catch a bus so I can make it to Anna Ogden Hall in time before they close the doors, because they don't take excuses. You know, there was even sometimes that they were talking to me going, are you sure you can do all this? And I'm like, I'm doing all this. It was no different than when I was first raising my son. I'm doing all this. Well, you might want to reconsider not doing it. I'm like, I'm not reconsidering anything. I'm doing this. And I did. I put everything into it that I had put everything into every other thing in my life. So that's what I was going to do to get sober, you know. But what was I talking about before that? Oh, then it was time to get my license. I was already working at the car lot, been working there for maybe, I don't even remember, maybe a year. Time to get my license. My husband's like, you need to get your license. And I'm like, I don't want to get my license. Because if I have my license, then I can drive. And I don't want to drive, because what if I can drive? I'm going to drive. And what am I going to do? No, I don't want to drive. I'm fine taking the bus every day from Cheney to the car lot. It took me a long time to, you know, get out of my safe spots to actually get back into society, you know, and be a contributing member, because I was so scared for so long. You know, that's why I hid for so long. And then when I finally came out of my hiding, so to speak, I started doing things like this, you know, started speaking on things for the Union Gospel Mission, you know, telling my story, telling more people about those secrets that I, you know, that I don't tell other people. In fact, I do some stuff with your dad, go to churches and stuff and let them know about, you know, my story and how. And
just to clarify, my uncle Phil runs Union Gospel
Yes, he
Mission.
does.
My dad, Randy, was the men's director there for 30 years and the chaplain.
Yes.
And he helps here at Helping
Now
Captives.
he's here, at Helping
There's just
Captives.
a lot of people in the community think my uncle is my father.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I hear it all the time.
And I love my uncle, but my dad is my dad.
Yes, exactly. He's
He's my dude. So I just want to always clarify.
Yes.
I'm Randy's son.
Totally different. Yeah. Totally different missions.
So
there.
you help with the Union Gospel Mission, telling stories of that, but then you also help at Helping Captives, telling your story.
I do more
on the sex.
Yes, 100%. In fact, I do more telling stories with Helping Captives, and then I do with the mission as far as their things, because they have other people coming through their program now that get to tell their stories and get to do that part. Yeah,
and you have a really unique story.
Yeah,
we just bought the Deja Vu, so it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're UGM's like we would say sister ministry, but they're the big brother in town, and we're the little sibling. So
yes, yes.
Yeah. Here's what my curiosity. Here's some questions that I want to talk about with you. Thank you for telling your story and all of that. I think it's incredible. And we'll finish up. But though you were saying, so you finally got your license, and then over time, you were able to kind of work through that.
Then I had to get a car.
Yeah.
I remember my husband saying, "You need a car."
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a car. I didn't want to. I just wanted to stay in my safe little bubble for so long. You know, I mean, first I wouldn't come out of my room. At the shelter, I didn't want to leave the room. Yeah. It's like, I needed cigarettes. Call my husband. You take me to go get a carton of cigarettes. You know, I didn't want to even go to Sonnenberg's, was right next door, one of my favorite places, and I didn't even want to go walk there. It's just a few buildings down. I mean, I was really, really scared. I spent a lot of time being scared of myself and things that could happen. But yeah, it started with my room, and then my license, and then a car, and now I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm good now. Yeah,
good accountability.
Yes. Good accountability, and I have, I feel very strong with the Lord. Yeah. I mean, Jesus is alive and well, sitting right with me. You know, I love my life now, and I don't ever want to jeopardize where I am. You know, with my family, you know, with myself, even. You know, it's way better. Life is way better than it ever was. Ever. I'm never going to get rich. I'm never going to make a ton of money working in the mission, but I am way more rich in my life than I ever was doing what I was doing, no matter how much money I was making.
This episode is brought to you by Altmeyer Financial Group. If you're nearing retirement or just want a clear plan for what's next, Altmeyer Financial helps you turn decades of hard work into a strategy for income, legacy, and purpose.
Their team walks with you through discovery to action, reviewing your plan year after year so you can move forward with confidence. To learn more, visit altmeyerfinancial.com. That's altmeyerfinancial.com.
So, switching gears to helping captives and how we got connected, I got a question for you. What did it feel like when you heard that Helping Captives had bought the club?
When I first heard, I thought it was just a rumor. I didn't know, but my first gut reaction was I felt like I got punched in the stomach and I wanted to puke. I was like, I lost my breath almost, and I was so torn. And the only way that I can explain it is that I felt like a piece of my life was going away. Which is totally weird, because for a long time when I would drive by there, well, not a long time, every time I would drive by there, I'd get a sick feeling to my stomach. When it was still deja vu, and then I would drive by there and I'd start to pray for the women and the people inside of there. And I would think about my memories. I mean, I have so many memories of that
14
place.
years of memories.
Yes, and some of them I have some of the very best memories, and just as much the very worst memories. Things, that, I live with, and, things I can't take back, but it made me who I am today, 100%. And it gave me a different perspective. It gave me a perspective that only people that have worked in that industry can really have on life and on people in general and on myself. Yeah. It felt like a punch in the gut. And it took me a minute to sit there with myself and go, no, Dionne, your past isn't going away. They're not ripping away your memories, because you will always have your memories. It is catching up to where you are now. It's going to go from dark into light. And of course, my gut reaction, I call my friend Angie. I call her, I'm like, did you hear that Helping Captives? And she's like, what? And she immediately starts crying too. And I'm like, that was my reaction too. I go, but Ange, it's catching up to us. Deja vu is catching up to us. It was in a horrible, terrible, dark place where the enemy just, thrived. And it's coming into the light now. And she's like, oh my God, it is. It is. And then it's just a whole rush of all kinds of things, because even when you called me and you told me that the sign was coming down, I immediately started crying. I got in the car and I started bawling my head off.
Do you want to come up here?
Yeah, yes, and I did. It's like, I was in a manager's meeting and I told them, I said, I have to go down to the booth. They're taking the sign down. And they understood, because they, at the motors there, they're my family too. Very, I couldn't ask for a better place to work, man. But they knew, and I went down there and I was just crying and I was just praying. I'm like, Lord, thank you. And I don't know why these emotions, thank you for giving me these emotions. I don't know what to do with them, but but thank you. And this is so exciting. And the enemy has no place here in what you're feeling right now, because he's going to try to manipulate you into, questioning yourself and this and that. It was, bittersweet. Way more sweet.
It's so interesting to me. Was it part of how it came out to the public, or is there anything that you wish maybe we did differently, or is there anything you thought we did right?
Well,
because I'll be honest with you, my thought process when I got it, I was not looking through the lens of evangelism.
Sure.
I was not looking through the lens of I want to reach the women that were working at the club. Because when we'll talk about that, there is a difference between sex work and sex trafficking.
Yes,
some
100%.
Women choose to work there, and they choose, they're choosing it out of their own, just on their own, and they get to keep the money. They get to choose when or who they dance with and all that kind of stuff. But then sex trafficking is there's force, fraud, and coercion. And a lot of the women that we work with, I wouldn't necessarily the club itself sold them, but a lot of them had boyfriends or they had guys that would send them to the club and then they would take their money.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking through the lens is all these women that we care about that have been hurt or trafficked through a strip club, or it was just part of their process. And I'm also looking through the lens of all me being frustrated with men in our community that keep purchasing women. And so when we got the club, which we did not buy the club because it was a strip club, and we were like, let's buy it. And because it was a strip club, it was, we were looking for a facility that would be on a bus line that didn't have a lot of windows. It was everything we were looking for. It just happened to be a club. Yeah. But when we bought the club, my first initial thought was, man, I'm so sick of the pain that these women that I see every day, like, we're going to smash these stages and we're going to rip them out and we're going to make a statement, not looking through the lens of maybe these women that work there are going to think we hate them and want to smash them.
Right.
And I wasn't even close to what I was thinking at the time. I was just really trying to protect the women that we've worked with that have been hurt through those clubs. And I know you've seen both. I know you've seen women that have been just choose to be there, and you've seen women that have probably been forced to work through the clubs, and so you understand what I'm talking about.
I completely do, and I'll be honest with you.
That was the one thing I look back on. Yeah, I wish we might have did it a bit different, because it was pretty hard on some of the women.
Sure, and to be honest with you, unless you were given a stage with ears for everyone to hear, with everyone to hear exactly what you were doing, I think you were going to get a pushback no matter what. And a lot of those girls, most of them, were going to be upset. And I think one reason why is not because, and a lot of women are going to hate me for saying this, and I understand, but their first thought is, you're taking away my livelihood.
Yeah.
You're taking away my livelihood. But I see it more as, they see it as, the truth is you're taking away their identity, is what they're feeling. That's who they are. Mm-hmm. When they're not. That is not who they are. Mm-hmm. I believe in my heart anyway. They're all children of God, no matter what. And each one of them that goes in there, I know he's weeps for. Mm-hmm. And when to have your identity in something, because that's what it was for me. Yeah. I was a stripper. I worked at Deja Vu. It was my identity. That's what I did. That's who I was. It was woven into me. Mm-hmm. It was part of my DNA. I see that now, but it was my livelihood. Had I been there when you did this, I probably would have been one of the loudest ones, on the line, screaming and yelling, "This is where I work. You're taking food out of my kids' mouth." All of those things.
Which was interesting to me because it had already closed down. It had been closed for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we came in and got the club. It wasn't like in one sense, us buying it essentially did close it down forever.
For good. It couldn't be a club again.
Yeah. Yes. Because it was grandfathered in, and if another club bought it, it could stay a club. And so in one sense, us purchasing it, shut it down, it can never be a club again.
And I think that was the hope for a lot of people, that's what would happen. Yeah. I really do, because like I said, unfortunately, a lot of them don't know anything but that.
Yeah. Because I was like, well, we didn't shut the club down. It was already closed, and we just bought it. Yeah. But in one sense, essentially we did buy the club and shut it down for good. And
as much as you're making it a safe haven, that was already a safe haven for a lot of women. That's how they saw it anyways.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's how they saw it.
That was one of the things that surprised me when, we have a lot to talk about with this. So the night was, so for people that weren't around or weren't there, we purchased the club. I did a private post on my Facebook of me, my dad, my pastor, and my son in the club tearing out one of the main stages. And we were doing that because we were going to have a big church service in there and dedicate the building to God. And we needed to remove the main stage in order to have room. But I also, for me, with my history and the way that I used to look at women as objects and not people, and my porn addiction and all the different things that I looked through, like, there was a part of me that was a proud moment for my son to be a part of tearing down something that has affected so many people's
Sure.
lives. And so I
Sure.
posted it personally on my page, and somebody said, you should make this public. And I did, and I went to sleep, and I woke up, and it had gone viral throughout the whole community. And then at the same time, a group of the guys that wanted to come do the men's revival service, and the thought process behind that was, like we just discussed, you felt like this was your place, but we were looking at it like we own the club. The men are the ones that really are saying, hey, this is a gentleman's club.
Yeah.
This is our club. We're getting what we want out of this. Yeah, you're making money, or you're making some money, but we're getting to see naked women. And so for us to take our gentleman's club and say, hey, we want to be known for protecting and healing our women, not objectifying them. That was really the point of having, like, let's have a men's revival night, and then we'll do a women's revival night. But we felt like, since it was a men's club, we should probably go in first and repent and have our night. So we were getting ready for all of that. So the night of the men's night, we had women show up to protest. There wasn't a ton of them, but they showed up, and found out later that they had brought some of their bouncers and some other guys that the guy told me later had come into the building because they didn't know if we were there to hurt them. They saw that we were having stage smashing, was kind of how it got presented, because one of the guys that made the flyer, that's what they said. They said revival and stage smashing party, and it really spread out. And so these women show up, and I think they just thought we might have hated them. We didn't like them. I don't think they understood in the least bit who our heart was. That actually, when we purchased the club, one of my friends that worked at the club came down there with me, and she was like, yeah, this would be great. And it's part of my story. Like, I used to be, living this lifestyle, and Christ changed me. Let's use the club for the kingdom of God now. And they didn't understand that. So I thought it was really brave of them to even show up in the midst of that. Obviously, when we got up at the beginning of the night and we just said, hey, if you hate strippers or you hate these women that worked here, you need to leave, because we're not here for that. So some of those guys left and realized we weren't there to hurt them. But the fact that they even showed up when we're brave enough to come and talk to us was incredible to me. There's 300 dudes that are on Harleys, and so it's a very unique night. And yet they're still out there. But the part that touched me the most was they made gifts for the women. And we still have those gifts because they touched us so much that they actually made gifts for the women that were being forced or abused and trafficked. They also didn't want to see somebody forced, abused, and trafficked. And we found curriculum in the club from the last manager that was doing trainings on sex trafficking. And part of their hiring process was to ask the women if they were being forced, frauded, or coerced into working at the club. And so I want to give some, attention to that. But one of the things that really impacted me after the night was over, we let them, some of the women, come into the club. And I had gone out there because they said the women wanted to give a gift. And I distinctly remember talking to them, and people wanted us to take a photo. And I remember even saying, like, hey, I don't want you to feel like I'm forcing you to take a picture. Like, I don't want this for a photo op. But they were like, yeah, we can take one. And we exchanged information. So I thought everything was good, and that they really understood our heart. And I apologized for how it could have came across to them. And they told me some horror stories of some stuff that the churches had done to them. So after the night's over, one of the ladies is in the dressing room. And to me, it's disgusting. It looked really dirty. The lockers, it wasn't like a beautiful locker room at like a golf club. It was really old lockers. There's this weird red spinning light, and it was very dirty. And I don't know if that's how it was dirty when they left or whatever, but she came in, she started crying, and she was just weeping, and she was in her area of the dressing room. And it just impacted me so much, because I'm sitting in this room going, why are you crying about this? Like, this is so gross. Like, God has so much more for you, and you're brave. You're brave enough to take your clothes off in front of people. Like, you have so many gifting. You're good at communicating. You're good looking. Like, God, there's so many ways you could make a living. And these thoughts are going through my head. And she just said, she said, like, she feels like she's losing her home, and that at least here she had other girls that had her back, and she had bouncers that could protect her, and she felt like now her only option was to go sell herself on the street, and that that she could die. And it just broke me, because she had to be like 19, 20, you know, and it really hurt her. And then I think, so when you're saying like they feel like they're losing their home or their identity, like, talk about that a little more, because that really impacted me when she told me that story. I would have never in a million years thought about that, but that's how she felt.
Well, for one, when you are spending that amount of time being naked together and the same people, that brings you really, you form a relationship with those people. Yeah, there is a bond there that you're not going to have with other people. Maybe a sibling kind of thing, almost, because, and I hate that you grow so close, and I use this word a lot, but you also commiserate together. And that's, I can only speak for myself in this, but when I was at my low points, when I needed somebody to talk to, when and I was by myself or alone, the first place, and things, my life started, except for the last time when I walked out of the club, that's where I would go. When I was just beat down, when I needed somebody to be around, when I needed to talk to somebody, I would go to the club and go sit in the dressing room, or go sit next to the DJ booth, you know, or then somebody get off, go next door to the Bronco, go have some drinks, you know. I mean, we were family, you know, family. And again, when you do that kind, you know, almost to a point, nobody outside of that place can understand you at that time, because
they haven't been through it.
No, they haven't been through it, and they have. I mean, and when you're in there nude and you're vulnerable.
Sure.
You know, and you're.
Yeah, the most vulnerable.
Yeah, the most, absolutely. So again, those bonds that you know make, it's like nothing else, except for the only way that I can explain it is like with like a sibling.
So that's why even years later, it still hit. It still hurt a little bit.
100%, because that was the spot. That was our spot. It's no different than, it was just like a clubhouse. You know, that's, for lack of a better word.
So when you're saying like that's our spot, in my mind I'm going, well, it's not really your spot. It's some dude's spot that's making money
100%.
You know, and we've, you know, but yeah,
to
it's your spot.
Exactly. No,
that's what is going through my head, and I don't want to make fun of that. But you really would feel like, no, that is your spot.
Yes,
that's your home.
100%. And that's the sad part of it is, for me, in hindsight, you know, looking back, that the fact that I would say that's my spot, I mean, thank God it's not my spot anymore. I mean, now my spot is right here in Jesus' hands is my spot now, you know, and I mean, it even makes me, I mean, even when, and just to think that it has such it's so powerful, that feeling of, you know, when you're doing that, just the draw, and just the emotional connection that you have, that place a place like that can give you, is just, it's too bad. It's really, really too bad. I mean, I spent 14 years in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still can feel it. You know what I mean? I can still feel that. You know, I mean, definitely. I mean, what I have now is way more powerful. Yeah. But you know, I mean.
Well, it just made sense to me, because like I say that tongue in cheek of like, not understanding as a guy going, what do you mean it's your spot? Like, it's our spot.
Right.
Like, we're the
100%.
We're winning in this situation. But
we pay you.
Yeah, like we don't have to work for this. I don't have to take you on lots of dates to like try and win you over. Like I just can come and throw some hundreds out here and we're good.
Yeah.
So that was always my thought process. But when she told me that, I was like, oh wow, like if you really believe this is all you're good for is your body, and that at least here you have sisters and you have people that protect you. And those guys, those bouncers, I'll give them credit. Like they genuinely the ones I met with, they really did care about those girls.
Oh, they do.
Really did want to protect
100%
them.
they do. 100%.
Yeah. I've met with a couple of them, have high respect for them. They told me some crazy stories
Oh,
about
yeah,
being stabbed in the neck and like all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yes. Crazy things. Crazy. I mean, I'm still friends with somebody who used to be a bouncer and then a DJ there forever. And he went through his stuff. And I visited with him a couple of times in the hospital because he was, because of drugs, even after I was clean, and he's clean and sober now.
We had
Thank
a few
God.
of them roll up and say, hey, I want to meet with you, and say, actually, like, we're happy that you're here to protect these women. And it really impacted them, some of the crap they saw in the club.
I'm sure it did. I'm sure it did. Because to be a man and not know the women and just go inside as or just to be on the outside looking in to be a customer, a patron of it, is different than to actually have a relationship and get to know these girls and protect them because they're going through it in there.
Well, one of those guys, I mean, there's 300 of us. A lot of them us have guns. Like, we're not afraid to throw down.
Sure.
Like, they rolled in there to protect those women. Like, I was like, bro, I have much respect for you.
Yeah.
That you cared enough for that.
Oh, yeah, the bouncers, bartenders, all the guys that I ever worked with.
Yeah. So I was just
always awesome.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to the story, and there's a lot more people's lives that are impacted than it's not just cut and dry as like the church hates strippers, so we're going to buy the club and shut it down.
Right.
And
Oh,
I
no.
think
Yeah.
That was what was so frustrating me with the media. And that's one of the reasons we started the podcast. Cause I was like, they're taking things massively out of context.
100%.
And so I felt horrible. We meet with the women, we exchange numbers, take a picture. And it really wasn't to get a photo op. I remember literally just going, hey, are you sure? Like, we'll do one. But it was out of feeling like, okay, we've connected. We have an understanding.
Yeah.
They could be some of our biggest advocates of finding the women that are being trafficked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's
right. And so I was like, I wish we would have spent more time on that side of it. I know we're a lot of the groups that go into like State Line now and feed them, like we're funding most of that because we do care. But the thing that really frustrated me was the men's revival night. There's a lot of guys that were abused and a lot of guys that had almost gone through divorces because they were spending all their money at the club. And I'm sure the women in those situations are like, these guys are so stupid. Like, I could just make some money off of, them by doing a little dance and like I'm going to take their lunch. In some ways, in that way, they're in charge and they're in control of that situation. But a lot of them had broken homes and a lot of the stuff that they had invested so much into the club. So they came and the first thing was a pastor gets up and he prays, and he's praying a long prayer. But one of the things he said was, Lord, we just pray for any spirit of like Jezebel or any spirit of Delilah to be cast out. And that was just part of his prayer. He's talking spiritually. And then all these guys' lives get impacted, and there's a message that we need to protect our women. And when I say our women, we don't own them, but like our women in our community.
Sure.
Right? That's what I mean by that, is they're women in our city, and we feel a responsibility, especially young men, to see how we treat women. And the news didn't report anything about the Salvations or any of that story. The only thing when I woke up the next morning I see is that they said, the pastor prays that all Jezebels and Delilahs we cast you out. So he took this one part of the prayer out of context and they printed that in the newspaper. And I just felt like my heart sink because I'm going, these women that we met with, I wonder how they're feeling, thinking,
reading that
now. We talked to them. We thought we were cool. We thought they trusted us. We brought gifts for them. And now we wake up in the morning and the whole time inside they were calling us Jezebels and Delilahs. Like, that really messed me up. I felt sick to my stomach. And then we started getting calls from groups that were wanting to go to State Line, and they got permits and they were going to protest the other club. And I just like shut it down. Like, and they probably don't even know that happened, but that was because of us. Like, I was like, no, don't do that. You're not going to impact their life. We have people that if you want to go in there and love them and feed them and build a relationship with them, that's fine. But, they've had people that have like burned buses and done all sorts of crazy stuff out there. And that's our heart. But that's not how the media portrays it. It's almost like they're trying to make it a church for stripper story. That doesn't sell stories. And all we wanted to do was just find a beautiful facility.
They want people's blood pressure up.
Yeah, so and I had said like take a building that exploited women to help heal women. And when I said exploited, if I would have said like objectified women or something, but the word exploited, I think might have made them feel like we were saying all of them are being trafficked or are being forced, frauded, or coerced to do it.
Right, because I had heard the same thing.
And it's not sex work or their independent thought. So I was curious because I think have you've heard that from them?
Yes, I've heard, because because I've been to an event where a lot of the girls that I used to work with were at, and most of them aren't in the business anymore, but when they'd heard that I had, because I will openly share, that
you're working with us.
Yeah, I'm working with you. That first, I'm clean and sober now.
Yeah.
And that I'm work for the Union Gospel Mission that transformed my life. This is what Jesus did for me through the Union Gospel Mission, and this is what I'm doing. And then I've also worked with some helping captives things, and they've said, well, I don't think that it's okay that they're telling people that all the strippers in there are trafficked. And I'm like, no, that's not it at all. That was never anything that they ever said. It has nothing to do with, you being trafficked or being a slave to this. And in my own mind, I'm thinking, okay, you are maybe not a slave because you haven't been trafficked, but I feel like, to me, if you're working in that business, your soul certainly is a slave to it. For me, it was anyways. I mean, I was 100% in bondage, spiritually, the whole time I was there, and even afterwards, completely. I mean, just to give people that the right information. No, this place, it's just happened that they are helping people that have been trafficked or in this sex industry and can't find a way out even. That's my understanding.
Well, one of the managers hit me up, and I won't say her name because she even had to say she couldn't be friends with me on Facebook anymore because of just the backlash of it. But she had said, hey, when you posted these words, this is how we're taking it. And we appreciate that you want to help women that are being forced into this. We've seen that. We don't want to see this either. But I thought, man, again, super cool chick, really brave, not pulling any punches, not afraid to tell me how she really feels about it.
Right.
But it was just, interesting dynamic for anybody else that if they're ever in a situation like ours, if I could do it again, I probably would have thrown like a dinner or something and asked everybody that had worked there to come and just blessed them and fed them and explained to them what we're doing and the heart behind it. And then we still would have had our meetings and our revival services and our prayer nights and had to gut the building,
or even just stage removal, not smashing.
Yeah, sure. But then because
it's so funny.
I thought about that later. I'm like, if a strip club bought a church and then said, hey, we're having a stage smashing party, the church would lose their mind.
Yeah, pulpit smashing.
Yeah.
It's just funny because even I was thinking about that when you would, every time you would say smashing, I'm like, that's the word.
Yeah,
that's one of the words. Fair enough. Smashing is that's funny. I mean, because I get it, but
we were trying to get a bunch of guys to show up
100%,
to help us with demo.
I get it. But I don't think there's anything that anybody can say ever about anything that isn't going to make somebody angry.
Yeah, and that's part of even doing this podcast. Some people are you didn't say this right, or anything
I'm sure.
You do on social media, you're always going to have somebody upset about it. But
one advantage, I don't have social media, so I watch some Instagrams, so I can see some of the things my daughter does for work. That's the only reason why she put me on Instagram. But I've made it a point, of not to have anything like that, just because I got enough going on. I do. And again, as far as people judging me for this, I mean, I understand. And if I offend some people and make people mad, that is by no means my intention. Just like after that first article that I did, I had a friend call me and say, I hope this isn't true that you said this. And I'm like, no, that's what I said. And get mad at me, And I'm like, but it's the truth. That is the first place. You can't tell people you did meth in there. Well, I did. That's the first place I ever did meth, and I did it all the time. That was. I didn't lie about anything in the article, and I certainly didn't say anybody's names. And I'm sorry if it made some people angry or upset, but I mean, I hate to say it, but there's TV shows and movies about this kind of stuff all over the place, and they're pretty spot on to the things that happen in places like that. I mean, and it's the unfortunate truth. Of course, I haven't stepped foot in a strip club since 2008. I've been to the Kontiki for an event. I didn't go next door to the club, and that's just by choice, but I took my husband, and we were there to pay our respects to somebody. Mm-hmm. But so I can't speak to how anything is in there, but I can take a pretty good guess that not a whole lot, that it's got to be somewhat the same.
One of the things you said as we wrap up, you said you were shocked that we got the building.
Yes.
Because there was rules at the time against playing any worship music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You couldn't say, and there was no words that talked about, Jesus.
When you were managing, there was rules.
Yeah. Even when I was a
unless you were mocking God.
No, yeah. Yes. Unless it was some kind of mocking. Yeah. They didn't want to, for lack of a better word, ruin anybody's buzz. They didn't want anybody being convicted, no convictions of where they were, which at the time, I mean, I totally understood. I was like, oh yeah, I get that. Why would you want it? It kind of reminds me of when my best friend and I used to do drugs, and there were some days she'd start talking about Jesus, and I'm like, stop talking about Jesus. You're ruining it. You don't talk about Jesus in the strip club, and or when you're getting high kind of thing. I mean, but yeah, there were rules. And so when I had heard that you guys had picked up the club, I was shocked because I didn't think that, and again, could have been just rumors or something that I just heard back in the, I don't even know if I even really did hear it or if it's just something that I put together in my mind somehow. But I didn't think that any kind of, for lack of a better word, church or ministry would be able to
own it.
Own the club, yes.
Well, that was the other thing is it got out that because we were doing the service and somebody had announced before we could announce what we were doing at the club, somebody said we're doing, the way they said it was we're doing a church service.
Yeah.
So then it went viral in the community thing. We're opening a church.
Yes.
And not a facility help.
Yeah. I believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, man.
So as we wrap up here, you ended up emceeing our gala on your birthday.
Yes, my 50th birthday.
How cool was that?
It was totally cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. I told a family, I'm like, don't buy me any presents. We're getting these tables. I want you just to come to this for my birthday. So most of our kids got to come. My parents came. My in-laws came. My brother came. It was really, really good. I mean, yeah. And I was very happy to do it because, again, I mean, I just love, I think about it all the time. It's so crazy. I mean, I spent 14 years of my life there. I mean, blood, sweat, and tears, all of it there. And now painted the walls black, had some of my craziest moments in that place, walked away from it, never ever thinking that it was going to do a 360-degree turn to what it is now.
Maybe
I mean,
a 180.
I mean, 180. We got to be going full circle. Okay, so I don't do math too good, but I can count money all day long. But I don't do math. Anyway, to where it is now. That I mean, now it's going to be this beautiful white building, saving lives.
How important it is for the community to get behind this for the women that are coming into the facility that don't have to pay for help?
Well,
because if the community's funding it.
Yeah, if the community is funding it, then you can, just like with the Union Gospel Mission, Jesus, the gospel is what saves lives, ultimately, eternally. I mean, and a life saved eternally is worth more than anything than you can take from the government, because if the community is not helping, then.
But what does it say to the, like you said at the mission, like that really impacted you? What does it say to the woman that she shows up?
The people love her.
Oh, I don't have to pay anything.
That people actually love her and that people actually care. That there are people, because that's one thing is when, I mean, for me, I probably said it 100 times. They didn't care about me. My family didn't care. They didn't care. People do care. I mean, and the fact that the community, the people that haven't even met you before are willing to invest their money into something like the Helping Captives mission. That just shows any woman, I would hope, walking through there, that people do care and people do love you. You're worth being loved. You're worth being cared about. That you're so much more than what you have thought that you are worth. I mean, because I used to think all those things. I'm not, staying at the mission, it's like, when's the other shoe going to drop? What do these people want from me that they're giving me all this stuff for free? They just want to love me. Yeah. And to know that people actually love me that haven't even met me. Yeah. Just, it changed everything. It changed my whole perspective.
When did you know you were for sure done dancing? Because you had told me you always had it as a backup plan.
I did.
There was a day where you realized you were really done.
I did, because I even took my shoes to rehab.
Okay.
I had a pair of dancing shoes that I took to rehab just
That's
in case.
the joke within the women that work here and have done it. They go, "You're not really done until you throw the shoes away."
Yeah. It was when I was in program. It was at Union Gospel. Well, I was at Ann Ogden Hall, and we had something that we had to give up. It was a symbolism of something, and that's what I gave up, was those last pair of shoes. I was like, I'm done, because I wanted to hold on to those with everything, because it's kind of like the last thing I did. A lot of people, I gained a whole bunch of weight when I got clean, and then I started sitting at a desk working.
Oh, and they feed you so good.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah,
yeah, way good. Yeah, gained a ton of weight, and then I lost it all. But I didn't want to get rid of my fat clothes in case I got fat again. And I'm like, same thing. Get rid of those fat clothes, man. You're not going back. So I tell my friends that too. They're like, "Oh, lose weight, but I still hold these." I'm like, "Don't do it. You got to get rid of that stuff, because if you have it hanging around, it's always right there going, well, if everything fails, that just leaves that little teeny tiny bit of the enemy, that door open or that little crack for the enemy to come through and go, well, you still have this. Yeah. This might have gone wrong, and that might have fell through, and you lost that and all that. But you know what? There's always this." But yeah, when we had the ceremonial thing, I got rid of my shoes. Never go back. In fact, I've never, it's funny, because for a long time I didn't even wear heels. And then I went back to wearing heels again. I'm like, forget that. I like them too much. Not those big heels, but
You're in heels right now.
I am in heels. I'm always in heels, unless I'm working out.
Last question. If you could speak to a young Dionne who is working at the club, or any time really in that time period of life, what would you tell her?
That I was worth way more than any of the money I could have made at any one time. I was worth more. I was loved more than I thought how much I was loved there. And that I'm not alone. Because as much as I had people around me all the time, I really, really was alone. I felt alone all the time. And for me, it was because I didn't let Jesus in. Ever since I've had Jesus, I haven't been alone, even when, don't get me wrong, I still have horrible days. I still have days when I'm just crying and I'm upset. Well, at least I'm not punching anybody out anymore and breaking things. That's one good thing that Jesus has released me from too. He's like, just cry, Dionne, and just be upset, and that's okay. But I'm not alone, and that people love me for who I am, not for what I have or what I can do for them.
Follow-up last question, because I was just thinking about it. I want you to speak to the church for a second, because we do get the calls of like, hey, we're going to go down there with the signs. And I remember in the media trying to make it sound like Christians hate strippers, or the church hates strippers. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. That was never my problem. I didn't hate strippers. I think I might have liked them too much. That was my lifestyle, So I'm going, I don't hate them at all.
Right.
And honestly, when it comes to judging why they're in the situation they're in, no. Like when you hear a story and you hear their situation, you go, yeah, I could understand if I was in a similar situation, I might do the same thing.
Right.
And, but I think, could you just speak to the church on how to love and reach people that are in that situation, and how maybe doing it one way doesn't help, it actually hurts?
100%. I mean, first of all, when you're working in that business, the girls already have walls up. They already have a wall up. And just give them a reason to think that you're not on their side, or that you could be, I don't want to use the word attacking. That's how they would see it. Even though you wouldn't see it as attacking, if you're going out there and you're protesting and you got signs up, whatever, you might not look at it as attacking, but they 100% are. They're already on the defense and quick offense back at you with anything they do. And and how I see it when you asked me that, and how I visualized it in my mind was, don't be a Pharisees in that. You got to love them like Jesus does, because it goes back to, he who cast the first stone. Not saying that, probably have some church people that'll be mad at me with that too, but I would hope that those who, really embrace the love that Jesus has for us understands where I'm coming from, as far as nobody is perfect. And if a girl's in those clubs, since coming at you with any kind of judgment, all you're going to do is push them further and further away from the love that the Lord has for them. You've got to show them love, not judgment.
And that's not saying that when you have relationship and relationship equity, you can't tell them the truth and how you feel. Oh no,
yes, 100%. Because because you're not loving somebody well if you can't be truthful in it. Sure. You just can't attack. You can't attack, and you can't do it with judgment. It doesn't mean you can't stand by your morals and your beliefs, but you really got to do it with love. I mean, and you got to start. I mean, you said earlier, you've got to start with some kind of relationship. You've got to be on a common safe, you've got to make that safe space. And if you're going in there with signs or to protest and put your fist up, it could be that you think it's in love, but it's not. They aren't going to see it in love. I'm sorry, I can't say that it's not with love, but it's not going to be taken as love. It's got to be, you got to create, you got to go to the Lord first. Talk it over with him. Get your heart in the right place, and then create a relationship. Get to know them first, and then have those conversations.
Which is why in talking with them, they would say, we had some church people we love and some that we can't stand, because the ones that we can't stand are the ones we feel are attacking us. The ones that actually come in here and want to talk and give us food and meet with us, they actually really seem to like them.
100%. I mean, when I was working at the club, and the protesters would come. The only reason why I liked the protesters is because when I was managing is that for me, any publicity was good publicity. Wave your signs, get everybody's attention. I just want them to come in and spend money. I don't care what you have to say. But we did at that time also have people come in and serve us food on Thanksgiving and bring flowers on Valentine's Day. And I just thought those people, when they'd walk out, I'd be like, those are good Christians. And I wasn't a Christian. In fact, I couldn't even stand half of them, because I just thought, most Christians were just hypocritical and, too judgmental and whatever. I don't have time for you if you don't, I'm good. Yeah. You keep your God, I'm good. I don't need him. But I had never had, the only good ones I did experience were those that just wanted to come in and just wanted to serve us. They just wanted to serve. They had no agenda, as far as I was concerned, and they'd walk away. And I remember those people the most, and I can see God. Yeah. I can see God in them.
So as we close up, is there anything last thing you'd like to say, or if there's somebody that's thinking about maybe getting out of the industry, how could they find you or talk with you, or find us or talk with us?
Yeah, I'm easy to find. I work down at the Union Gospel Mission Motors. I'm one of the managers down there, and you can come in anytime and ask for me. I would love to help, answer any questions that you have, or if you had more questions about anything I had to say today. I'm happy, to talk with anybody about anything, good or bad. If you are in the industry and you want to get out, call me. Homeless, drug addicted or not, call me. And if somebody wants to get out of the industry, I mean, I'd point them your way.
Yeah.
Before, coming my way. I mean,
and we have women that have been in the industry for years.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that actually run the organization.
Yeah. I know somebody I used to dance with, even besides the ones, I mean, yeah.
So they get it and they understand and they love to talk and sit down. And have
because you're not going to come in here, people not knowing what you're going through, because we know. I mean, I know what you're going through, whether, it's drugs, stripping, your own life hangups. And I think that's the best way to come at anything like this is.
Well, I just want to let them know. I think there's this like, well, these men, what do men do? They're running it. They started it. Yeah, we founded it because we care.
Yeah.
But we don't run the program. It's all survivor-led and women-led.
Yes.
They're the ones that actually run it. And we just really work hard to be able to provide the income for them to do what they do.
Absolutely. You guys are just the face. Behind the scenes, I know, it's the women. I mean, even my friend that I danced with for years. It was so awesome. Coming back, I mean, I was going to a movie one night, and I ran into her. We hadn't seen each other for years because, again, I don't have social media. She's like, I've been looking for you forever. And she had, been a Christian for some time, and then I told her about you guys. She came to the gala, and then she applied for a job with you guys, and she's working for you now.
Yeah, they make part-time. The best employees.
100%. It takes one to know one.
Yep.
You can't help somebody unless you know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like just when I went to rehab, my counselor was a meth head from way back. And it was perfect because she couldn't call me out. She knew, and she could call me out. Yeah. She could see it, feel it, speak to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Dionne, thanks for coming in, and
thanks for having me.
Love you, appreciate you, and thanks for explaining the baby powder to me.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Hey, you got it. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed the conversation, I want you to make sure to like and share and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We're grateful for every listener. Your support helps us keep sharing stories of faith, hope, and real transformation. And if this episode encouraged or challenged you, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. If you'd like to support victims of sex trafficking and be part of the fight for freedom, visit helpingcaptives.org to learn more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.